Yeah. So now we give the microphone to Art. This is a program to show people what we do actually.
Okay, and I thank you. And I wanted to say that the head honcho behind Ping Pong Parkinson is not me. It's Nenad Bach. From the start, he is the guy, the main guy who has established 4 continents worth of over 300 groups affiliated with Ping Pong Parkinson. We started.
Quick question: does everybody hear Art or not so much?
So much.
Not so much.
Not so much. Yeah,
No,
we can hear you better.
Art, you need to do better.
All right, I'll try to talk into my microphone a little closer. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we just can only see the top of your, you can only see the top of your head.
Okay, actually, it's like the moon. You only see half of me because of the lighting too. So you need a satellite to see my other half. I'm sorry about that, but I need the
I hope you're wearing pants.
Actually, I may not be. I'm not gonna tell you whether I am or not. So anyway, we started this about 6 or 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
And we, as Nena just said, we're celebrating our 300th edition, the 300th meeting this evening. And we meet for an hour and a half. Our sessions have been stretched out to an hour and a half. We began with an hour session. And in the beginning, if people had come up to me and said, "What do you do there for the people with Parkinson's?" Because I'm a volunteer, I don't have Parkinson's disease. I would have told them, "Well, we play ping pong." But recently, or even the last year or two, I wouldn't give them that kind of answer. I would tell them, we're there because not just for ping pong, we're there to promote dopamine. That's our mission, to make dopamine. We are, in effect, a dopaminergic group. And through the process of neuroplasticity, I'm sure everybody knows these terms nowadays, the brain can make new synapses from the person's experiences, and they can improve in their physical function. But I want to emphasize the idea that it's not just physical functioning. There is a cognitive component, and there's an emotional component, there's a social component, things that we don't often talk about. So those are some of the things I'm going to mention today. We started out with just ping pong. We thought ping pong was very good because we knew that it was good for coordination, for balance, for posture, things like that. We also knew that it provided some cognitive stimulation because in ping pong, you have to think when you play. And there is a very complex neurology going on when you have to hit a ball. The ball is moving. You have to see the ball. You have to coordinate your arms, your hands, your body, your feet to hit a ball. It's very, you have to use your eyes. You have to use even your ears. It's very complex, which is good. This is one of the principles involved. I hope everybody understands that it has to be complex, it has to be challenging in order to be good. If it's easy, then then the program would not be successful. But ping pong in itself, as most of you know, is lacking in certain aspects, as is every other type of exercise program, every sport. You can name the sport, whether it's boxing with Rocksteady Boxing, a noted Parkinson group that meets nationally. Whether it's swimming, whether it's walking, running, any of these activities, even bicycle riding, any of these activities are all good, but they all are limited in some aspects. They don't provide for the full complement of things that you need for a person who has Parkinson's disease to get the most out of the exercise program. Like a vegan who has to combine things, amino acids, to produce a full complement of protein, that person might have to eat rice and wheat, corn in order to get the full complement of his protein requirement. In the same way, in an analogous way, we have learned over time that people with Parkinson are best off when they combine other things besides just ping pong. Ping pong remains our thrust. It's our main activity, but it's not the only thing that we do. We have evolved, and I would commend all of you who run your own programs to also try to innovate and do different things while, and as you learn about the things that are the most promising. So what have we done? I'm going to explain our program to you, and then I'm going to specifically tell you what we expect from some of the leaders or the coordinators. What we have done is become more than ping pong. We decided on trying out different things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. I hope you can profit from some of the mistakes we've made, and I'll tell you some of them, which some of those are. But some of the things that we did was, for example, we added juggling, and we added a calisthenics or an exercise stretching program, and we added facial exercises, and we added vocal exercises, and maybe it sounds like it's unimportant, but we actually added singing. Singing, if you look in Google, you'll find that there is singing therapy for people with Parkinson, and we developed that too. I'll talk about each one of these things in a little bit, maybe a little bit more, but you can see we started out with just playing ping pong to have fun. But I have to tell you, fun should not be the number one aim of any of the groups. The number one aim, if you keep it in mind, should be dopamine. You can't have dopamine production without fun. So fun is an important concept too, but you actually need both. So let me tell you a little bit about our program and what we actually do in the hour and a half. We begin with an introduction round. Everybody is seated, and people can make announcements, and people can talk about anything that they like. This usually lately has involved safety because we had somebody fall. I'll talk about that too in a minute. But the introduction period allows us to bring members and encourage everybody to give them applause. So it's a welcoming 5 minutes, and it establishes the spirit of the group, which should be warm. After everybody has any announcements they want to make, we do introductions by having everybody say their name out loud. This is almost an exercise in itself. It's a vocal exercise. We go around and everybody in the room, and we average about 30 people lately, although we've had more at certain times. Everybody says his or her name. We then finish that segment and we go on to the warm-up session. We at the Westchester Table Tennis Club, where we have our group, are lucky in that we have the means to hire a guy who leads us in a calisthenics routine. He is a ping pong pro, and he does this also for us. And what he does is exercises which include things like stretching and aerobics. There are some people who cannot do jumping jacks, so he keeps it geared to the group in front of him. And a lot of it involves music with some dancing routine as well. He does this for about 8 to 10 minutes. At times when we don't have him, we've had people come in who have done Tai Chi. as volunteers. And that turned out to be a good thing too. Because remember, it's not one thing, but all this complex group of activities that is the most helpful. It's a combination of things. So his calisthenic period lasts for about 8 to 10 minutes. Then we regroup at one table, and for 3 to 5 minutes, we have an instructional period for everybody on the base on ping pong basics. This could involve, and the leader does this, by the way. So this is one of his tasks. It could involve telling everybody about the rules, because the rules have changed, and a lot of the people that we have played ping pong when the balls were 38 millimeters, for example, with sandpaper rackets. We explain about the new rackets and the new rules, and we talk about different strokes, and we demonstrate different strokes and strategies. It could be anything involving ping pong, including history, by the way. People should know a little bit about the sport in which they spend an hour and a half every week, and they do. They find out about it because they want to know. After that period, we have a co-leader, my co-leader, who does something very important, and you'll all have to do this also. It involves getting everybody paired up to play. Everybody gets an assigned table. Everybody. We're lucky because we don't have a limit of tables. We have 6 tables in our very large room, but beyond that, we can spill over to the big club, and they allow us to do that. And those tables are available to however number of people that we require the tables. So we have tables for instruction for people who are just beginning to play. Anyone starting out requires instruction, and we do that, of course. But we also have the pro teach a couple of people at the same time. The remaining group play singles, or they get paired off in doubles. I'll tell you maybe a little bit more about that after too. The session with ping pong lasts for about 45 minutes. That's the largest segment of the hour and a half. This is what everybody likes to do. At the end of the session, sometimes it's hard to get them away from the tables, but we move expeditiously, hopefully, to the juggling segment. We are especially lucky because we have a juggling specialist, and he happens to have Parkinson's disease. But he's not going to be there tonight. So we have backup, and I firmly advise all of you to try to get backup for all of the things that you do. You're going to need them. Not everybody can show up every week. Some people go on vacation, etc., as you would expect. So you're going to need backup. You're also going to need volunteers. I'll get to that as well. After the 15 minutes of juggling, we end up with the exercises that I told you about, the facial and vocal exercise. We hand out a sheet for lyrics for a song. The song is chosen by a musicology committee, and the song is based on songs that can be sung loudly with lyrics that can be really vocalized. They don't have to be great songs, but they have to be suited for what we require the song for, which is a group of Parkinson people trying to increase their ability to improve their swallowing and their breathing. All of these things happen when you sing. And I want to tell you that the reason that we chose this is because it enables us not just to improve vocalization or to improve the ability to express facial moods and things like that when you're singing, but because it's a social activity. One of the things that has to be impressed on everybody who is starting a group is that although it's not a social therapeutic group as such, it turns out to be a social support group. We never intended to start that way, but we learned that that's what happened. And it is important. I'll tell you why. As a psychiatrist, a retired psychiatrist, I'll tell you why. The worst thing that can happen with anybody, but especially somebody with Parkinson's disease, is to become isolated in their home alone. They feel stigmatized. They're afraid maybe to show that they have a tremor or some other abnormal gait or anything like that. And sometimes they end up not going out anywhere. They lose their purpose in life. It's not a good thing. They end up depressed, and it also affects them physically, and it affects their cognitive abilities. These people don't live as long as other people who socialize. So I say this as an aside. The singing is not just an accident. It turns out to be much, much more important than just singing an Elvis Presley song and have somebody trying to sound like Elvis. So those are the things we do as part of the program. Now I'm going to turn and tell you what we expect from the leaders, because that's really what I was told to talk about. And some of the things may seem simplistic and not important, but it turns out that I think they all contribute to a good leader. First of all, you need, I think, a certain personality. And I'm not trying to tell any of you that I have fulfilled all the requirements of the ideal person to be a coordinator or leader. In fact, you're looking at almost a hermit type guy. I really am one of those people who's not that sociable. So I have to admit that before I say anything about this. But the ideal would be somebody who is sociable and very friendly and outgoing, somebody who is sympathetic, who has empathy, and somebody who is patient. Those are some of the things. You also need somebody who has certain skills. You need somebody to lead who has, hopefully, ping pong skills. It's not essential, but it would be helpful because you can get other people to do that task. But if the person who's the leader, the coordinator, has ping pong skills, that's a good thing. Combined with that person hopefully should have teaching skills. It's my job there to take the person who has the least amount of ping pong skill, the person with Parkinson, and I put them on the first table, and I help them to the best of my ability every week. There are other people who also do that, and they are volunteers who have to share the same attributes that I just talked about. So one of the things we need is a person who has those talents, or most of them, hopefully. And that coordinator also has to find people to help him. That's where the recruitment come in. Recruitment is another task of the coordinator, the leader. Now, at the Westchester Table Tennis Club, there's a club right on the other side of the wall. So what I did 6 or 7 years ago, with Nenad's approval, and without a club, I went in there and I dragooned people because I knew them, and I made them come in to help us. And it worked, and some of them stayed as volunteers. It was like a press gang in San Francisco in the 1890s going out to get some sailors to man a sailboat for the Navy. It was just like that. Now, I know you all can't do that because you're not privy to the same club membership that we are. But you need volunteers any way you can recruit them. I don't know if one way that I thought about that I think might be helpful that we tried is through high school. If high school kids can work with you all in a group, they can get a reference for you when they apply to college. And those things do help them, and they know it. It helped me when I applied to college. I was a member of groups like that. And if they're interested in medicine, they can learn a lot about people with Parkinson when they join such a group. And before I forget, let me tell you that one of the attributes for a person who is coordinating, I just mentioned it myself, the person has to know about Parkinson's disease. The coordinator may not have Parkinson's disease, but he has to know, doesn't have to be a medical physician, but he should know the basics of Parkinson's disease. And I'm not saying just tremor and slowness and stiffness. He should know a lot more than that. He should know that some of these people may have to go to the bathroom all of a sudden in the middle of the group, or that they may have to take medication all of a sudden. And he has to understand that these are not abnormalities. These are things that he should learn to expect. So that person has to have some understanding. And as he progresses, when he recruits these people, he's got to teach the volunteers too. We promote the idea of spouses coming in with their husbands and wives who have the disease. We also encourage relatives, sons. We've had the children of people with Parkinson come in, and we've also had friends bring them in. This is especially true if they can't drive. We have our groups at night. Some people cannot drive. They're old. Most of our membership, members of our group, are in their 60s. They're late diagnosed, not early diagnosed, although we have a few of them too. So it's important that they have some means of getting to the group. And that means a driver sometimes, if they can't drive themselves. So the volunteers become an important aspect of the group too. Now, the other thing I'm going to tell you about is the other things that are required of the leader. I come in early to the group because I set up the room. I make sure that the tables are out and in order and locked down. I bring out the paddles and ping pong balls. A lot of people don't come with their own paddles. We have to provide. A lot of these people have their own paddles and their own equipment. After a while, they all do because they take it. They become more serious in their ping pong. So I do that, and I make sure that the place is clean. I know this is menial, and it's no big deal really, but I put out the equipment for the juggling too. So that's one of the things. If you get new people, another job is to orient them. And I'm talking about new people with Parkinson. You have to tell them about the program. They don't know about it. You have to tell them what to expect. And I give them the lowdown, just as I've done here, in terms of how we spend the segments and explaining to them it's not just for ping pong. I also tell them something very important. I tell them that hour and a half is not enough, that they require more exercise than 90 minutes with us. If you speak to any neurologist with a specialty in movement disorder, or even someone anybody from the AMA, and they'll tell you that there's a minimal requirement of 180 minutes of exercise per week. And that includes all of the different ones that I mentioned before, including housework, by the way. If they don't get enough aerobic exercise, it's not going to be enough for what we do. But we don't do enough resistance training either, and that is a medical requirement, especially for people with Parkinson. Why? Because they need to enhance their core muscles for walking and for balance so that they don't fall. You all know what I'm going to tell you. People with Parkinson fall. So they fall twice the rate of people who are comparable age. So that's another issue, and I'm going to raise it right now. There's another thing that you as leaders must do. It's the safety job. When somebody has an accident, it will happen. We've had people break wrists. We even had a person break their hip. They broke a hip playing. There are going to be people falling. And I'll explain to you how to prevent that a little bit, but it's never going to be mitigated completely. you must know something relating to emergency treatment. You don't have to be a physician, but I hope there's somebody there who might know CPR in that emergency. But this is especially what you should know. If somebody falls on the floor, don't get them up. Make an appraisal of the person as you as a leader. Make an appraisal. Make sure there's no head injury and there's no obvious internal injury before you move that person. If you're not sure, do not move that person. And I'm telling you, you're going to have an accident at some time in the ensuing years that you're going to be in charge. Don't move the person. Call 911. Call the emergency, the EMS. Let them move the patient. You don't want, if there's a neck injury or a spinal injury, you could cause more damage. And it's best to do nothing. Leave them there, make them comfortable, comfort them, give them something so that when they're lying on the floor, you can support them with some kind of cushions and things like that, but try not to move the patient along. So I tell you that because over the course of the 6 or 7 years, we've had people break wrists. That's the usual injury. Ping pong, you would think, would be innocuous and would not be a kind of a sport where people would get hurt. But people end up with shoulder problems, elbow problems, knee problems. But when they fall usually forward, and they have what they call a Colles fracture. So those people, if you're not sure, don't tell them that it's fine. Tell them to go to the emergency room. If they're alert and oriented by 3, they know the time and they're not having any cognitive problem. You tell them to go to the emergency room. They're going to get X-rayed. We've had people there. I didn't think they had a wrist fracture. They ended up, they did. And this is very important with people who have dyskinesia, people who have more advanced Parkinson, because they're more liable to fall. If you see somebody like that starting to play ping pong, you need to assign a volunteer near them so that they don't fall. We've done that. Right next to the table. We've had some people, 82, 83 years old, with advanced Parkinson. We put volunteers right next to them so that they don't fall. And while I'm on the subject, let me tell you that good shoes are important. You got to have non-skid shoes, but they're not perfect. Our big room, unfortunately, has a slick surface. It's a wooden strip maple floor, and it's got some kind of a satin finish on it, and it's dangerous. So sometimes we move all our players to the big room where there's a rubber floor. Will Shorts had to put the rubber floor in because the International Table Tennis Federation insisted on it because he was having 4-star tournaments, and that's one of the requirements. So that's a good thing because the rubber is forgiving, but not totally. We had somebody break a wrist even on the rubber. So you've got to be careful no matter what. There are some things that we're going to do that I'm going to tell you about teaching people with Parkinson in ping pong to mitigate the falls. So in fact, I think I'll turn to that right now. There are some rules that we've learned over the years. First of all, when you're teaching people with Parkinson, don't use complicated sentences when you're instructing them. Use simple sentences and simple ideas, one at a time. Multitasking is good when you're trying to build up dopamine, but not when you're teaching people with Parkinson ping pong. You only want one thing at a time. So for example, I tell them the most important thing. Tell them, do not move your feet. This is much different than what you would learn if you're learning ping pong from the pros on the other side of the wall. They're practically teaching them how to dance when they're playing ping pong. You're seeing them moving around like you can't believe. But that's not the way we do it with people who have Parkinson's disease in the beginning. Do not move your feet. They stand square to the table. Number 2, do not cross your feet. If the ball goes either to the left or right to hit a backhand or forehand, do not cross your feet. That's a recipe for a disaster with someone who has a balance problem. So if the ball is short on the table, we ask them, just move your left foot forward and then come back to that ready position, the one where you're square to the table. Same thing if it's to your forehand, if you're a righty. Move your right foot forward so that you can reach a short ball, but move it right back. Never cross your feet. We have a problem with doubles because in doubles, these people are moving all around. So we have another rule. If the person looks like he's not balanced, don't let that person play doubles because you're looking for trouble. Doubles is an accident waiting to happen for someone with Parkinsonian symptoms. If that person has a balance problem, don't do it. Let them play singles, and hopefully they won't get hurt that way. In terms of people progressing, yes, we can start changing that mode. They can start moving around a little bit. But for most people who are starting out, for most of the people that we see in the group, we ask them to follow the rules that I just told you. I'm going to tell you one thing that we've learned that encompasses all of this. Over the course of 6 years, I've learned something about Parkinson in terms of how people think. People with Parkinson do not think like most people. It's subtle. You can't see it all the time, but they can't understand you if you're talking with too many and asking them to do too many things. You have to concentrate really on one concept at a time. Don't complicate the process, and don't frustrate them by giving them too much data, too much information, and throw it at them all at once. Be patient, be slow. That's the way to go when you're teaching them.
Art.
Yeah.
Just quick. Maybe we can just interrupt a little bit because it's a long conversation. We have something.
I can stop now.
Okay, you know what? Because focus is difficult. So I would ask people to introduce themselves like 30 seconds or something like that, just that we see who is here, and then we continue with the questions. But this was wonderful, Art. I don't know how you heard it, but this is very informative. So let's go and whoever is, you are in the gallery mode. So you just unmute yourself and introduce yourself, or I can go by Di Pasquale, John, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Sure, that's fine. Our group is about 12 people, 12 strong. We do have what I would call a leader from the concept that Art has shared today already. We also are working in the facility of an organization called Parkinson's Resources of Oregon, and they provide other exercise programs that would fit the need for additional activities beyond ping pong. So I think I can see where our partnership or our involvement with Parkinson's Resources of Oregon would be able to complement each other in what we're providing to folks with Parkinson's.
Okay, thank you, John. You mute yourself, and Francis from Catalonia.
Hello, good night. From here, it's almost 8 o'clock in the afternoon. Just tell you that I'm from a little village, 6,000 inhabitants, and we play table tennis in the highest league of Spain. And we have a group, but we have a group only of 7 players, because as you say, there are less people in our town than in a building in New York. That's why we are so little. And we are introducing these techniques that we were discussing this summer with Nenad. And we have to say that every year we improve the number of participants that we have in our club. And really, it has been a pleasure to listen the long conversation of Art, because I took some notes, and we are going to introduce some aspects that are around the table tennis, because we're mainly focused on table tennis. And now I know that we have to introduce more social things, social activities, to make the whole set better for the people who has Parkinson. Just thank you to all of you to invite us to this session, and I hope that we can collaborate as we are doing now. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. Francis was a great host. I was in Catalonia, and it's just a fantastic club and a fantastic feeling, and the great people. I just loved it. So, Mr. Hawkinson.
Yes, my name is Steve Hawkinson. I'm from beautiful White Bear Lake, Minnesota, where we're usually experiencing quite a bit of winter, but this year we have no snow on the ground and 50 degrees and sunny, and it's a very, very strange year. But I've been involved in this now just for a few months. I was diagnosed about a year ago, and I looked into all kinds of different kinds of exercises, and I stumbled upon ping pong a couple of months ago, and it's got me by the neck, and it's dragging me along, and I'm loving every minute of it. I hope to share it with other Parkinson's patients up here in the great Midwest, and our program should be up and running in a couple months. Working on getting some volunteers. I don't think I'll have any trouble getting participants. But there are a lot of tentacles to this, so you have to kind of manage 8 or 10 things at one time, and I'm doing pretty well keeping my sanity and getting one step in front of the other every day.
Wonderful. Chuck, please, Vanderberg. Thank you, Stephen Hawkinson.
Hi, I'm Chuck Vandenberg, Rochester, New York area. I'm just here to learn about the program. I played a lot of ping pong when I was a kid with my brother, and now I'm 6 years into Parkinson's diagnosis, probably a decade into symptoms, and I'm doing the Rocksteady boxing with Dan and Kathy, whom you'll hear from shortly. And the three of us are just interested in seeing about starting a chapter or a club here in the Rochester area.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you so much for participating. Aviva, you unmute yourself, or I can ask you. We can hear you.
Okay, good. My name is Aviva Wolf, and I started a program in my area of Ping Pong Parkinson's, and we meet on Tuesdays, and yeah, I find it really enjoyable to just kind of meet the players and play with them, hear about their lives, and I just love knowing that I'm helping them socially and physically. I think it's a great feeling.
Aviva, where is your area?
We meet in Port Washington.
Long Island, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the youngest leader. I think you're 15, something like that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this. Okay, Purvi.
Hello, my name is Purvi, and we are located in Estero, Florida, and we call it Southwest Florida, if you guys are familiar with in between area Tampa and Miami. We've been running Ping Pong Parkinson program for now many years, and I agree with Art what he was like, sharing his knowledge and expertise with all of us. We are making lots of progress, making it official. We do have 15 to 20 to 30 player shows up. Of course, when there is a cold everywhere, they all come back to Florida. It's a snowbirds, what we call. So time to time is a season that we have seen many players. I have Coach Jeff Yamada. He's also from Naples, and Mr. Roger Berkeley, that he's a great support. I do have some to share, which you Art said that you added some of the different activity. And one activity, what we do is a clap therapy. When you are clapping, it's like, we always start that applause your volunteers, applause yourself that you are here. And when you are clapping, all the 7 chakras are like all energized. It's lots of information, but I know that is a short introduction. So I'll share with the group later on. And thank you for inviting us and sharing the information. And I can say Mr. Roger can also go next to me to introduce us.
So
Yes,
let me go in my order here. Daniel Rothschild, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Rothschild, and I live in Fairport, New York, like Chuck and Kathleen, just outside of Rochester. And we've been working together to start a club here in Rochester. I have Parkinson's, was diagnosed about 4 years ago. And boxing is a wonderful thing to do, but I love to play ping pong. I've been playing since I was a kid, and looking forward to getting this program going with Kathleen and Chuck to help our fellow Parkinson's patients and to expand our reach into the community. So it's been wonderful to meet everybody here on Zoom, and look forward to sharing insight and techniques and finding a way to get this program going here in the Rochester area.
Thanks, Daniel. You can mute yourself. Kathleen Lewandowski, I want to say that each session starts with a number. We said this is session number, today it will be number 300. That's how we start each meeting. But Kathleen, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Lewandowski, and I'm also from the greater Rochester area. And I was diagnosed with Parkinson's about 7 years ago. Been doing rock steady boxing for most of that time, which is great. But I really got interested in ping pong Parkinson's a few years ago when I read an article about Ninad, and he said that it helped him get his rhythm back so he could play guitar. So we're trying to get something going in this area, which I think is wonderful.
Wonderful, Kathleen. Thank you so much. Jim Beckford, please. If you can unmute me.
I'm in the Daytona Beach, Florida area. I've got about 50 years experience with Paralympic, but very little with people with Parkinson's. Trying to get something local going in this area. Our primary concern is we don't really have a location. There is a rock steady boxing group locally. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to coordinate that. There are a couple of potential things I can get organized in, but this is really my introduction to Parkinson's table tennis. I'm also going to need to leave within about 3 minutes. I'm sitting in the lobby of a doctor's office waiting for them to be called.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch, definitely. Tarek, please. Unmute yourself.
Well, it helps when you're unmuted. Well, hi, everyone, and thank you for inviting me, and I'm so happy to be with this group. So my name is Tarek Sobe. I've been playing ping pong since I was in high school. I love it. And then I was reattached to ping pong again through my son. My son has Down syndrome, and one of the sports that he plays is ping pong. And that's how I got to learn more about ping pong as a sport, not just for having fun, but to explore potentials and to enhance abilities of the person. So I like to say that my son has special abilities more than he has a disability kind of thing. And then in doing that, and just by coincidence, I met Nenad. He came to our club. So I play at the club at New Jersey at River Edge. It's called Ready to Golf. And then he invited me to come over to Westchester, where I came over there to meet him and Art and the rest of their wonderful group over there. So I got to see, in person what they are doing. I've been there multiple times. And then when it was time to get the things started at RTG for Ping Pong Parkinson, I was there fortunate enough to help with this. And then I was helping with the sessions, and then I became the session leader for quite some time over there. And now somebody else is carrying the torch, but I still go there to help. And in fact, I was there yesterday. We had a very nice session over there. And I'm trying to get this moving in other places in Pennsylvania and also overseas in Egypt, where I grew up as well. So plenty of opportunities, lots of things to talk about, and I'm just enjoying hearing this, and I'm taking notes as we are talking, as everybody's pointing out while Art is going through this. I've missed a few things, so I wrote them down. So thank you for doing this and for inviting me. I'm sorry if I took too long.
Thank you, Tarek. Listen, Gary Houghton, please, from England. Liz is our poet who wrote all of these songs, poems. But anyway.
Hello, I shan't do any poetry tonight, sorry. Right, we're from Bedford in England. We set up our own Ping Pong Parkinson group last August with about half a dozen people with Parkinson's. We're now up to 16.
16 regular, 18 on the register.
We've got 4 tables, and we have started looking at our risk assessment, looking at some of the points that Art was talking about, and we are going to go back and redo the risk assessment.
Particularly for doubles.
Yes.
Wonderful. There's great supporters and great friends. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you.
Just like to say that Art's presentation is exactly what we needed. Yeah. Because we're now looking at a coach. The people we've got we're all fresh starters at ping pong, and they're all so enthusiastic and improving enormously as time's gone on. We're now looking for a coach for them. So this would be so useful for the coach to listen to and view, to give him an insight into Parkinson's and ping pong.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Rob Chambers, please, from Slovenia.
Yes, hi all. I'm Rob. I'm Australian actually, but I moved to Slovenia a few years ago. So I'm an expat. Basically, I decided to spend some of my time volunteering with Parkinson's patients as a coach, because my passion is playing table tennis. I've been playing since I was a kid. I play at local league level. So good, but not pro level. But this allows me to combine the joy and fun I get from table tennis, as well as the physical activity, with helping people enormously. And it's very, very satisfying for me. And in where I am now in Maribor in Slovenia, we have up to 40 players, I believe, that are registered, which is great. That's largely due to Vinko Korant, who's sort of he's basically the leader of the Slovenian Ping Pong Parkinsons, and we also now have 2 coaches that other coaches besides me. So we have kind of a senior coach who's Gregor. He's an exceptionally good player, and I'm kind of assisting him effectively. And we also have a new coach as well, that's also come on board as an assistant as well. So really looking forward to continuing my relationship.
Thank you, Rob. I played with Rob a little bit in Croatia, and he's a great player, by the way, and a great educator. So Don Hughes.
Hi, I'm Don Hughes, and I live in Amelia Island, Northeast Florida. We have a recreational group. We meet at a city facility. We have 7 tables. One has a serving robot, which we want to incorporate into the program. And we haven't started yet, but we have an agreement with the Council on the Aging and the city to help us run this program. And we have a bunch of volunteers now, and we hope to start up in the beginning of March. And it's a very small world, because I know Jim Beckford from Daytona, and I haven't seen him in about 30 years. He used to come to the college I worked at and played ping pong, even though he didn't go to college there, but I let him. He's a very good player and a nice guy. He spent many years working with Paralympic athletes. So that was kind of exciting to see him. So
Thank you, Don. MSA, Pod.
Yes, it's Emesha. I'm a physical therapist working in Spalding, which is New England area. It's a brand name for rehabilitation. It's like the #2 rehabilitation hospital in the country. My specialty is integrative medicine, and including I use ping pong therapy. I started to play as a kid back in Hungary for a year or two. I happened to play with the Gergely Junior Kampár. They were training in the same facility. And then I stopped abruptly because of medical reasons, and I rejoined playing ping pong about 13 years ago as a therapist. And then the phenomenal changes noted in my emotional, physical status as a therapist. I said, okay, I'm going to try this with my patients. And it was about 8 years ago. At that point, I worked with ICU patients. So these are heavy-duty patients on respirators and after transplants and all kind of disastrous status locked down. So the results were surprising, and ever since I'm kind of figuring out like how does ping pong do these changes. 2 years ago, I switched my position to an outpatient clinic, and there we have a pretty strong neuro program. Again, the therapist had no clue what I'm doing when I yanked out my pedal. And during the last 2 years, I earned quite a respect, because the patients are doing fantastic. And the first thing they say, oh my God, this is fun. So and now I have a lecture in which I give time to time to different forums. And so the problem in outpatient, when you have patients who are graduating and progressing, is where are you going to send them? So the ultimate thing is usually the gym. People are not interested always in gyms. And I'm always puzzled where I'm going to send them. So when I heard about PingPod and Parkinson is sort of a special group, it was obvious that it was meant to be. When we met with Coach Q, I just looked at him, and we looked at each other, and we said, oh, yeah, I know you. So we played in a couple of competitions. Obviously, he's a pro player. I'm about 1,300. So we met a couple of times, and we can't wait to start this program in Boston and Cambridge.
Wonderful, Emesh. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And that's our new 2 chapters will be there. Roger?
Yes. I'm Roger Berkeley, and I work with Purvey. And we were brought together by a random call to Pleasantville. I called Nanad's number, and he answered the phone. And I was amazed. And he told me, well, we have a program in Southwest Florida that's operating, and he introduced me to Purvey. And that's having a great coach is critical. Somewhere along the line, you're going to have to do that. We also have Jeff Yamada from Naples Pong. And right now, the program is being run mostly in Estero. I decided I wanted to put it, I'm as far away from Estero as you can be and not be in Havana. And it was too long a run. So I thought if we can get locations all around southwest Florida, that would be helpful. And so I started a program of Southwest PingPongParkinsons.org. And we're just in the process of setting up a 501c3 because you got to fund this stuff. My goal, and Nanad's and Purvy's, is to have the service available without people having to pay for it. And the way to do that is to collect money so that you can live off what you invest. And right now, we have a challenge grant. An anonymous donor said, if you can collect $250,000 in Southwest Florida to be spent in Southwest Florida, when you do that, I'll give you $1 million. It turns out $1 million is a lot of money. It's been a struggle and it's tough to go, but we're going to get there, because once a week is not really enough for Parkinson's patients. They need 2 times a week or 3 times a week. We want to have them be able to get it as many times a week as they want. So right now it's based in the Estero Park and Rec Center. Naples Pond, that's Jeff Yamada's group, will be joining us within the next week or so. And that covers Thursdays. And then we keep adding. And where the whole legal thing requires some effort to get a 501c3 designation here in the States. But we're going to file those papers this week to get it, and we'll see how it goes from there. All I can say, one piece of advice is get liability insurance. When you get that, your insurance carrier will give you waivers that people need to sign. Just remember that no matter what people sign, that you never waive the liability of your own actions. So it's sort of a formality, because if something goes wrong and your floor is slippery, or something goes wrong because there's snow outside and people coming and going get hurt, that's going to fall back on you or on your insurance. So the key, I think, is keep it simple, be completely transparent about what you're doing. And we found that we have, I don't know, Purvy, how many is it? We have 30 players on some days. Some days we just have a couple of tables worth. But we're looking forward to getting bigger. We are affiliated with the group in Pleasantville through an affiliation agreement, and that allows us to use the logo. And this is great because this session gives us all training. How do you run a session? You're going to live on consultants, people who will help. Some of them will be physical therapists. Some of them, I'm hearing now from Art, will be musicians. Some will be whatever else you need. And one of the things you need is you need to not do the job yourself. You need volunteers. You need volunteers both at the sessions and helping you pull together a group. If you're in some place where it's you and 3 people, and you can get together with other towns. That's what our organization is. It's the Southwest Florida, and that's Lee and Collier counties. And we have to expand it. and there is a community which is largely a community of color, which is entirely untreated. Well, guess what? Parkinson's really doesn't give a damn about your race or your background or anything else. You got Parkinson's. The other thing that's been very helpful has been the Michael J. Fox movie called Still, which won an Oscar for Best Documentary, and is now on Apple TV Plus. And you see his attitude, which is you're not going to die from Parkinson's, you're going to die with it. So make the best of your life. Live your life. Do what you can when you can do it, and don't wait. This only gets worse. It doesn't get better. But I don't feel, and I think Elaine, who's my wife, who has Parkinson's for 17 years or something, we haven't exactly pinned it, but feel that we want to live a happy life because we can. And that's part of what this does. You see the faces of people who get onto that floor and you just see them light up. And, you know, to somebody who has a Parkinson's patient and is a caregiver to the Parkinson's patient, that look alone rewards you every day, every single day. And it only gets better. It doesn't get worse. That gets better, the struggle.
Wonderful.
So that's what's going on here. And we had to nod here, and he ran us ragged.
Thank you, Roger, so much. You were a great host, by the way. And Jorge, please, if you can unmute your microphone. Jorge, can you hear me? Yeah. We are listening. We cannot hear you. Jorge? Hello? We move to Peter, and then Jorge, if you can figure out why is your microphone not working, because you are unmuted.
So
now I can hear something.
no, that's me,
And that's
Peter.
your Peter. Okay.
Yeah, but
So-
I've lost my image. Isn't that true?
You lost your image, yes.
Yeah. So you know, I'm like Jorge. So anyway, I'm Peter Wahlberg. I live in Hastings on Hudson. I discovered the Pleasantville chapter for my wife who has Parkinson's, and we started in March of last year. Oh, Jorge's back, I think.
Jorge,
Just
can you?
testing. Yeah, just testing. If you guys can hear me?
Yes, you can. I can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. I was dealing with technical issues. So you can hear me?
We can hear you, but tell us where are you from and so on.
Okay. This is Jorge Vanegas. I'm from PingPong, Chicago, and I'm so happy to get involved with this program. And I hope that we can be of help and try to develop whatever we can do in order to improve all the platform that you already have created. Thanks so much.
Wonderful, Jorge. PingPong is our great friend and great supporter. PingPong is we love them. So just that you know. Thank you. So Peter, please.
Yeah. So I discovered the Pleasantville chapter for my wife, but wow, gee, am I having trouble with my audio now? It sounds like it. In any case, it was wonderful for me as a caretaker, to find this group of people. I had just an intuition that it would be fantastic for Wendy, but I had no idea it would be so helpful for myself. Just, in ways I really can't explain. I guess I just miss community because I had been an Aikido practitioner most of my life and able to go to classes continually. We had classes every day, morning, noon, and night in New York City. So I was spoiled, and it's good to spoil people with as many classes as possible because you'll just build community faster. I was impressed to hear Art talk about the quality of patience as an instructor, and I think that that's like number one. But I want to add that Art is particularly gifted at encouragement. That's like a kind of number two. Encouragement at the smallest level is like, did you even come? That's what's remarkable, is like you're really like just almost teaching somebody how to hold the ball. It's like, so that means you need a lot of patience, and to just raise the ball up 6 inches to hit it takes a lot of practice and a lot of patience. So it's great to see that kind of learning taking place on the smallest level. And maybe that's the connection I find to Aikido, because we always spoke of beginner's mind, or I shouldn't say we spoke of anything. We really didn't talk about anything because we were very Japanese about it all. So, learning is all by seeing. And I think that it's good for everyone to try to reach that level of attention, and that's not an easy thing to create in a group, but it's one thing to aspire to because it creates a lot of respect between players. So another thing I think is people advance in it. It's always, don't let the advanced people always go into the deep end to play with themselves. You got to mix it up. You got to keep mixing it up. Surprise yourself with new learning, as a teacher as well. Try things out. It's like that's how the whole group learns, because they see you as a teacher progressing. So those are my little 2 cents.
Thank you, Peter, so much. Peter is a new force and a great supporter. So Ed, please.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ed Campbell. I'm a volunteer in Pleasantville, and I've been helping for probably about 6 years. My journey with Parkinson's, obviously, Michael J. Fox was the first that I ever heard of. Then we had a very dear family friend about 20 plus years ago that came down with it. And I had been playing ping pong with a friend at the club in Pleasantville, and I met the group. And I have a neighbor who was diagnosed about 15 years ago, and I knew that he enjoyed ping pong. So I encouraged him to join, and he's been playing for the last 5 or 6 years. And in fact, he actually coordinates the Monday program. So we actually have 2 days a week in Pleasantville. Monday is strictly ping pong. So I coordinate the play. Our program has grown over the years. We had 19 people with Parkinson's last Wednesday evening. And even with all those additional tables available to us, it's a challenge to match people up. So I developed a spreadsheet. We basically rate the players based on skill level and we're up to 4 groups now, 3 main groups, but occasionally a 4th group. And it just helps organize the play and gets it started faster. It's been a blast. I tell people it's the most fun volunteering thing I could possibly imagine doing. And I've made a lot of great friends over the years and hope to continue doing it for a long time.
Ed, you're such a great addition to our group. I can't thank you enough. Stephanie from Philadelphia. Stephanie?
Give me one second. Hi, so I'm Stephanie, and I am the chapter lead for the Philadelphia chapter. And we've been running the sessions for almost a year now. So it's been really great just we work with PingPod, and every week, like Art was saying, we try to incorporate not just ping pong, but also like facial exercises and other activities, as well as building community through over Christmas, we did a secret Santa exchange so that participants can also build more social relationships with other participants. I think that social well-being aspect is really important. And I'm also a neuroscience student at the University of Pennsylvania doing research in Parkinson's disease. So it's just been really great being able to, help people with Parkinson's through table tennis, as well as I'm also a table tennis player. I've been playing since I was 9 years old. So being able to use the skills I have to help others has been really meaningful.
Thank you, Stephanie. That's her initiative to have Philadelphia. So she did everything from the scratch. And it's fantastic. I'm really proud of you, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
Stephanie, I'm just curious, where are you? Because I was talking about trying to start something in Pennsylvania with my friends over there. So I go to Lancaster and Malvern. So you're located in Philly. Maybe you're not that far from us. Maybe we need to communicate.
Yeah, I'm in Old City, which is
okay.
Yeah, if you know where that is.
I'll exchange the information with the two of you.
Okay, that would be great, Nana.
Thank you so much. Tiana's iPhone. Tiana, can we hear you? Tiana? We'll go to Jeff Yamada, please, and we'll come back to you, Tiana.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Jeff, we can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Hi, guys. As Purvi and Roger introduced me, I'm Jeff Yamada. I'm the head coach here at Naples Pong. We're located here in Naples, Florida, the Southwest Florida location. So we just start talking about Ping Pong Parkinson, and we're just gonna start our groups here in our brand new club. We just opened a few months ago, so we're happy to be involved and help the association. I'm glad to be in this meeting. Thank you so much for all the information, and I'm glad to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Just you leave no stone unturned. Jeff's brother-in-law is from Brazil, and I knew him, and he connected me with you. And then I Purvi and Roger, and it's exactly Naples. It's unbelievable, which kind of place this is, So, Tiana, can you? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tiana, can you try again? I'll ask you to unmute if you can talk. If not, we'll give last but not least Ying Shen. Can you talk, Ying? Hello, Ying. Anyway, we try. If they come around, they will. We can see now, Ying.
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Ying Xian. I'm a volunteer at the Pleasantville chapter since last February. It's my pleasure to work with Nana and Art. It's a great group. I met a lot of people, and I'm really happy I can help when we play twice a week. I also go to the Mondays. So basically, I talk to people and know more people, and it makes my life happier also. So thank you.
Well, it makes our lives happier when you are there as well. So
Thank you.
So this is longer than I thought. I hope that people are not bored by it. For me, everything is interesting. Each of you is interesting. So please feel free to ask Art or myself, any questions if you have questions. Yeah.
Let me just say this, if I can, and then I want to invite everybody to join us in April when we have our national tournament.
Yes.
And anyone who is
Just come closer to the microphone, please.
anyone who has been on this Zoom, I invite them to contact me. I'd be glad to play with anybody who's here for sure.
Yeah, we have in the email you see the April 12th to 14th. It's a U.S. championship open for all the countries in the world, but we have to establish the U.S. as well because we are behind. Germany is very much ahead, in Slovenia, and soon to be England. Go ahead, we have strong indications. And you know, every we have 23 or 26 countries now, one club at least. But we are looking forward to cooperate. That's why I wanted you to see each other and communicate, because you know we want to help as many people as possible now. It's just our first goal, and also we have another goal. We have, you know, our three goals. The fourth goal, which is find a cure by 2027. So this is not just a gimmick. We will leave no stone unturned, and we are doing some progress there. So please pay attention, and please feel free to speak or ask questions. And I love you for being part of it. That's my heart is full of joy when I see you. You have
Can I
to
just say,
yes.
Sorry, going on Roger's comment earlier about insurance. Here we have an organisation, Parkinson's UK. So
Okay.
Liz and I became activity volunteers for them, and that covers our group under their umbrella insurance. So that's one way that we got around it.
Fantastic.
I don't know how it is for you guys.
Yes, we have two insurances. One is from the club, it has insurance, and also one is from USATT, United States Table Tennis Association.
Okay.
We are covered twice with the insurance in our club.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anybody else, or we can conclude this if you have saying, or you can just write or whatever. Don't reply to all of them. I'm sorry if I didn't ask you to show your email, but I hope you understand. I wanted you to see how many of you are here. And a number of people couldn't be here because for various reasons. It's a very small window, 12 hours I gave only. But I think this is a great success to see you, and thank you, Art, for giving us you know, like a DNA scan of what we do, and feel free to communicate with us, and we are a big family, you know, and so I appreciate.
Thank you.
Anybody else, or should we just close the session? And I will send you the video, by the way.
Yes.
Was there a presentation associated with this, or slides or anything?
No, nothing. It's just talking, and we will try to make a transcription, if you don't mind. Does somebody help with transcription? Would somebody have that patience to, or put the microphone and automatically transcribe? That will be very important, because we will have text that Art spoke.
Yeah, I think we also talked about this, having a presentation, put it in a PowerPoint or something, but I don't want to make this a task. I just wanted to say that some of the challenges that I've seen is that our pongers are not always as excited about juggling or doing other activities as they are with ping pong. As or you've said that, you know, this is the most interesting part of the whole session, and I ran out of tricks to try to get them engaged into other activities. They seem to be having fun playing ping pong, playing against each other, and also doing the drills and all that stuff. But wanted to hear if you had any comments about this, or if anybody else want to share their experience about that. Tons of other things to talk about, but I know this is not the venue, so probably we can talk about them on another time or when we come to the championship.
I have an explanation to this. I also like to play ping pong, and I love to juggle as well. But this is the thing: if you give a child option to eat whatever they want to eat, they will eat chocolate 24/7. You know, and that's not good for them. But they don't know it. So the same is with people with Parkinson. They if they knew it, how much it helps, they will juggle. Because juggling, you create new patterns, new paths, you know, and rewire all neurons. So I think it's important to have juggling, and maybe if they are embarrassed that everything falls down, you know, let them juggle at home or you know. But anyway, Aviva, I assume that's your father, yeah?
No, it's not, but I do have a class now, so I do need to hop off.
Thank you so much, Aviva.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Nanad.
Thank you.
Tarek, let me just tell you something. We have the same problem as you do. We have a lot of recalcitrants who are not interested in juggling. However, as the leader, as the coordinator, I shepherd them. I have a bullhorn and a whistle. I use it, but I don't have a gun, and I don't. I don't force.
I prefer a stick. A stick. Oh, you mean you don't have a stick?
Well, the bullhorn is close to a stick. I do coerce them, and I try to shame them a little bit because it's in their interest to do the juggling. The juggling, as Nena just said, is about the most challenging thing they're going to do during that session because it's hard. If it's not hard, it's no good. It has to be difficult. That's how you make dopamine. But the thing of it is, we're not out there to have people join Barnum and Bailey Circus because they could juggle all of a sudden. But let me tell you, they are able to do it if they're motivated and if they persevere. And they get a lot of satisfaction when they accomplish a 3-ball cascade. But we don't stop even at that. Once they can do some of the basic tricks in juggling, we move on. We're actually introducing 4-ball juggling now in the group. Some people will end up being able to do it. So I know it's hard, and I know a lot of people don't want to be, they want to be left on the ping pong tables. But if we can, we cajole them over to the instructor who does the juggling, and it's really a good thing for them.
We have a son who was in fact a juggler with Ringling Circus.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Roger, he's invited to our sessions.
Yeah, so we'll get him involved, but maybe we can get him to give a quick teaching session that we can record and share of how to teach juggling and what juggling is.
That's good. I want you to know, Roger, we don't juggle chainsaws while they're on.
Yeah, yeah.
We shut them off before we start.
Wise idea.
Yeah.
I actually learned how to juggle. I didn't know how to juggle very well, and I watched a few YouTube videos, so I can now juggle. I look like a professional, so to get them more interested in it. But so far, I haven't been very successful. They play ping pong until they can't do anything more, and then they want to leave. They are not interested in juggling at all.
Oh well.
I understand.
So I thank everybody. I hope it was as pleasant for you as it was pleasant for me.
I'm actually back now. It's Jim Beckford. I'm back. I missed about the last half hour.
Yeah, we recorded, so we'll send you the link.
Yep.
You're back in time just to say goodbye.
I have two questions about things that I do occasionally.
Okay.
Do you ever play doubles where they don't alternate, where they play the wheelchair rule, where they each take half the table? That's a way to. Is that something you do at all?
No, we have not done.
We haven't tried that, but that's a good idea.
And the other thing, I've worked not with Parkinson's, but with other disabilities, which I'm much more familiar with. A lot of people with poor balance, I just sit down. Playing sitting down is quite functional and often a lot safer. That might be a way to address the falling issue.
That's a very good idea.
You're right. Jim, I played with some people who are quadriplegic who sat in wheelchair, and they're pretty good players too.
Oh, yeah.
Into the microphone, Art, into the microphone.
And they were very good players too.
You know Jennifer Johnson. She's one of the athletes.
I do, and she's the one I played with.
Yes.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's it. But people with other disabilities just sit in a regular chair and can play quite functionally, where it's just not safe for them to stand.
Yeah, I can understand that too.
Yeah. Hi, Francis. Thank you for being here. Francis from Catalonia. Just left. People are leaving and saying goodbye. But
Yes,
anyway.
I wanted to say, let's just applause Ninad, Art, whoever is here. So then it's like as we start here, the clap therapy that we can add. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I clap you.
Thank you,
I clap you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we wouldn't have it if you were not here. So, but it started with just me, because when they told me that we should wait to find people, I said, no waiting. We have no time to wait. So I think if they said in the movie, if you build it, they will come. So they came. Yeah. Anyway, all the best. Anybody else? Last word. Great to see you. Thank you so much. And we can maybe do it every month or 2 months like this, reintroduction and upgrades of what happened in the meantime. That will be very good, very motivating, I would say. So anyway, all the best, and I'll end the session. And
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
So much.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.
So long.